Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, pitching the third in a triple hitter today. And today I have with me Dave Sussman, CEO of Alana by Plasmatic Technologies. Dave, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Oh, thanks for having me, Tony. Sounds like you're having a very busy day. I'm so glad you took some time to have this conversation with me.
We're recording December 21st. So basically, we might be the last two people in the industry still working just before we go into the Christmas week.
Yeah,
So just trying to get everything recorded before I ride off into the sunset, basically. Uh,
sounds good.
According to LinkedIn, you're up in Vancouver. So December 21st, part of me is thinking that it's got to be the North Pole right now.
Oh God, no.
But
No. We may be in Canada, but it's not that type of Canada. They say this time of year in Vancouver, it rains twice a week, once for 3 days and once for 4 days. And that's what's been happening. It's been steady, drizzling rain. We're not going to see the sun for a few months, but that's okay. It's nice when we get a white Christmas, but it's unusual actually.
interesting. And
Yeah.
Canada is a big block of ice.
Well, we're only an hour and a half north of Seattle. So
Okay,
just think of that. Yeah.
okay. So Seattle weather. So
Yes, exactly.
okay, perfect. Makes sense. I finally got to visit Canada this year, but I've only been to Montreal and to Calgary. Have not made it up to Vancouver or Toronto.
Well, those are two very different cities. So you got a good taste of the variety that Canada has to offer between Montreal and Calgary. Very good.
Perfect. So we always give the guest a chance to give the
Sure.
elevator pitch. What is Alana?
Okay. Alana is the product name by our company, Plasmatic Technologies. Alana is a platform that encourages customer engagement in order to reduce claims and increase retention for the insurance carrier. It's our feeling that insurers do a pretty good job of underwriting, of measuring risk to select which risks they want to take on, but they don't necessarily engage homeowners once they've signed in order to ensure that the home is being maintained properly, in order to provide the right information at the right time to the homeowner to help them avoid claims and avoid problems. And that's really where we come in, helping the insurer deliver on the promise of being the trusted advisor to the homeowner. One way we put it, it's a quick summary, is we help turn homeowners into on-site property managers because they're the ones with the boots on the ground.
Okay, that is a big promise into on-site property managers. Okay, so I do agree completely with you that carriers are good at underwriting, but historically, we write it and we might look at it as renewal. We might just renew it if there's been no claims. Uh, but we're definitely not touching base. We're definitely not. There historically, we just haven't had the ability uh, to really be super involved, kind of in the week to week, month by month of the property, right? Um, so doing it at scale is very hard, right? So I definitely love the idea of having some way to do that, not only from the protection of the book from losses, also for if the client sees me more often, meaning the insurance company, they're more likely to stay with me at renewal.
Yeah, and that's what I meant with retention, and we've proven it with a couple of carriers. There is a retention advantage. The customer feels that the insurer is a little bit more top mind. There's a relationship there. Really, when you think about it, when does a typical insurer interface with the typical homeowner? And that's under two cases: when there's a claim and when they're renewing or establishing their policy.
Both of
Neither
which
of
are
those
negative.
are really great feeling interactions. They often involve a lot of oppositional feelings. The customer doesn't really feel the insurer is on their side necessarily. Even with the best insurers, it can be
Mhm.
fraud. So our feeling is engage the customer on an ongoing basis on a really positive way, benefit from increased retention. Customers are more likely to stay with you. And well, the best claim is one that doesn't happen at all. So encourage customers to deploy IoT devices to automatically shut off water if there's a pipe burst, or to install leak sensors if there's a sump pump, or to be able to tell customers winter is coming. Here are the 3 things you need to do to ensure that you're not likely to have problems in your home over the next several months and you can enjoy the holiday season. You know, it's not rocket science, but it's not nothing either, because we take a lot of effort to make sure that the right information is received by the right customer at the right time. We look at weather patterns, we look at structure, we look at a lot of characteristics of the homeowner and their home in order to engage them with really useful tools and useful information they're going to actually act on. Sometimes it's very easy to explain to them the difference between a rubber hose and a braided hose that's connected to your washing machine, and explain the benefits of a braided hose, maybe send them a braided hose if our AI technology detects that there's a rubber one in place. Or another example I give sometimes is this: to be able to ask customers to take a picture of their hot water tank can make a lot of sense for 3 reasons. One is you can know that it's not actively dripping and leaking, there's not an active problem. The second is, with our platform, if you can ask them to take a picture of the QR code or UPC code on the hot water tank, we can help to establish if there's been a recall. We can help to establish its date of manufacturer. The customer can also obviously visually see if there's rust or other problems. And thirdly, and I don't mean to be casting aspersions to anybody, I'm not perfect either, but you know that the homeowner knows where their hot water tank is, because sometimes they don't. Making sure they know where their water shutoff valve is, where their hot water tank is, what's involved with maintaining their roof, their gutters. These are things that really, really pay off for everybody.
So what does it look like, right? So if we're having to be recorded right at the end of 2023. Okay, so let's say that I'm a carrier and I'm going
Mhm.
live, or part of my book's going live with Alana in 2024. What will it look like
Sure,
for my customers?
sure. So there's different flavors, as you can imagine. The core theme is that we have a SaaS platform that has a lot of the functionality I've described and more. We have the ability to provide a branded and skinnable app, or web app, or web portal, or some combination to the homeowner. So the face is always the carrier's face, and I think that's very important.
Super important, yeah.
We also have multi-channel capability. So to be able to, in an automated way, reach out to customers if there's severe weather coming, or with a monthly newsletter, and direct them to what they probably need to know now from their insurance carrier. I mean, part of my background, I'll just share this with you, Tony, because I think it's descriptive. Part of my background is in utilities. Utilities learned years ago that there was a real benefit in opening up a lot of what they knew and sharing that information with the customer, saying homes like yours usually benefit from insulation, or usually consume more electricity than you're consuming, or less. And here's what we know, and here's how we can help you achieve your targets. This is an opportunity for the insurer to say homes like yours are subject to the following hazards. Here's 3 easy things you can do that will decrease the likelihood of this happening to you over 10 years by 50%. And it's not a major expense. It's not a major bother. Go and do this, send a photograph. We have a lot of built-in capabilities for this. Prove that you've done this, and maybe we give you some kind of benefit. Maybe it's a discount. Maybe it's a Starbucks gift card. Maybe it's a pat on the back, or we have some gamification built into our platform as well. Maybe it's a virtual ribbon or something else, but customers appreciate it, and they will act on this type of customer engagement, home maintenance activity. That's been our experience.
What kind of results are you seeing, both on the retention piece and on the loss prevention piece?
Well, most carriers that we've worked with have concentrated more on the loss prevention. So they've measured it better, they've set it up to measure better, and they've gotten better results, partially as a result of that. They are looking at typically there's a slight increase in claim incidents, which makes sense and is great because if you can get a customer to walk around their house and find something, they'll find it earlier, but they'll find smaller things. And we did find that that was our hypothesis, and we did find it to be borne out. But overall claim expense was very, very high. We typically are seeing differences of like a claim expense reduction of as much as 12 to 13%.
Over
Yeah,
the entire property book.
yes. Now, in terms of customer retention, 3 to 5% increase in customer retention. I think that, well, I won't get into it too much, but we're working on some additional capabilities that I think will enhance that even further, offer cross-selling opportunities and some other advantages too. I mean, the fact is, no claim is the cheapest claim, and a customer that you can just sign is the cheapest customer as well. So that's really what we're based on, is creating that relationship so that customers want to stay and they're a safer risk.
Hey, um, so if I'm a property carrier, how do I get started? How do we start taking a look at whether you're a good fit for me and how it plugs into my systems and all that kind of stuff?
You give me a call and we'll set up a trial and I'll be able to show it to you. One thing I do want to mention though is this. Customers, homeowners, you will get some homeowners that want to just let the system run to automatically get monthly or weekly tasks. It's actually weekly. Yeah, get regular tasks tailored to them and messaging and other things as conditions change. Whereas others will be power users that will use our inventory system to set up different items in their home, or will use our task management calendar to make planning about how they're going to are going to plan how they're going to maintain their home and keep it safe from risks. And it's a similar story for the carrier. Carriers that want to be more hands-off, we provide a complete library of resources. We provide a very extensive set of tools. It's all automated and well, we have AI and machine learning to help us along that route too. So articles and tools that are more popular will show up more, and we have automatic provision of these types of assets to the homeowner. Carriers that want to be power users and want to dive in deeper, we do have integration capabilities to their back-end systems. If they want to have, for example, automatic discounts when a customer sets up a smart device or does some other action that they're set up to provide discounts for, or to be able to manually enter different assets and resources into the system that their customers are going to see, that their homeowner is going to see. They're able to be power users as well, but we're very careful in that right out of the box, this can provide value and it can be measured as it goes along. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so super customizable, both at the client level, both at the final customer level. Do they really want to engage or they just want to be passive? And for the carrier itself,
Yes.
from a
Customizable and extensible. If there are other systems that we need to tie in, we've done that before, and we will continue to do it. Such as sometimes in the web app property that the homeowner sees, sometimes the carrier will want visibility of the policy or some details of that, or a simple form to, for first notice of loss, or direction to some section of a logged in portion of their website. So there's extensibility and extreme customizability as well.
how did you guys realize that this was needed with an insurance?
Well, we started about 7 years ago, and we actually started in an adjacent industry in, as I said, in the energy industry to help customers understand how energy is being used in their home, how they can use it more efficiently, and how they can collaborate with the utility in order to achieve mutual benefit. We then looked at other industries and we saw a really important one in insurance because we saw sort of a lack of meaningful engagement with the customer. We saw smart devices becoming more and more important, more and more relevant. We've seen automotive telematics transform that industry. We think that engagement along the lines I've talked about with you, paired with smart devices for home telematics, has significant opportunity to change the economics of the insurance industry in favor of the carrier and to make the customers much happier as well.
Yeah, I agree with all that basically. That's definitely the yeah, definitely makes sense to me. Um, and anything new coming up for 2024 that you're excited about and you can already talk about?
Well, not that much I can talk about, but a lot of exciting thing happening. One thing I will mention is it's very interesting to look at the advantages I've talked about and apply them not only when a customer has established themselves, has become a policyholder, but to even take it a step back and to start to engage the customer in the underwriting process. So that might be an extension of home inspection, maybe self-home inspection, maybe guided home inspection, to be able to open the door to establish that relationship. Maybe it'll involve a device. I can't talk much more about it, but to back up to the very initial stage of the customer relationship. And that typically takes place either at the agent and broker level or when it's direct to consumer at the initial phone call and then sometimes the site visit or the assessment stage. To get that relationship started right at the very beginning, we think is a very promising adaptation to
Yeah,
what we're offering right now.
100%, and it really brings it together because we've been talking for years about insurance having to move from a loss payer to a real relationship, a real protection, real loss prevention. As it's very interesting as an industry. Most carriers have pretty good claims, but only 5% of any of our customers have a claim in any given year. 95% of our customers get to the end of the year wanting to shop us because they
Mhm.
understand, right, that they didn't
So to
direct.
give them a reason to stay can be very important. Another way I look at it is this. Right now, insurance, it seems to me many insurance companies see themselves on the receiving end of a risk transference strategy. So the customer transfers the risk of their basement flooding or, God forbid, their home burning down or whatever to the insurer. And the insurer then concentrates quite a bit on selecting the best risks so that they're not likely to for the math to work out against them and accepting that risk transference to express itself as a combined loss ratio they don't want to see. That's part of the picture, but it's not the entire picture because there's a couple of things that I think are being missed here. One is, sure, the risk is being transferred from the customer to the carrier, but not completely. The customer still does not want to see bad stuff happen in their home. They still don't want to see a claim, even if it's a wash for them financially. Nobody wants that. So there's a potential for the customer to avoid problems in their home. It is still in their interest, even though to some degree they've transferred the risk. And then on the carrier side, there's an opportunity to mitigate the risk. There's an opportunity to decrease the likelihood of risks, of hazards, of claims, and the severity of claims. And I think it's very important not to miss that. And when you really think about it, there is barely a claim that cannot be addressed in some way. I mean, sure, look, if a tornado is going to pass right through the middle of your property, you just hope there isn't loss of life. I grew up in middle America and in Tornado Alley. I know what that's like, and it's something to see a neighborhood or a mall that a tornado's gone through. But what we hear a lot about is wildfires. We hear about hurricanes, other severe weather, extreme rain, extreme wind, extreme hail. Most homes that are subject to these type of severe weather events, the vast majority are not literally in the eye of the storm. When you look at it geographically, they're on the periphery. And there are many things customers can do, from checking debris to selecting the right roofing material to ensuring that their siding and windows are in good shape. That can take major strides towards avoiding a claim. I don't know if you saw it, Tony, but there was one home in Lahaina, Hawaii, that survived that catastrophic wildfire because they had adequate setback and they had the right roofing and siding materials on their home. This is something that carriers can really sink their teeth into and make a big difference.
Yeah, and it takes getting the right messaging to the right customer at the right time,
Yeah,
which are
absolutely. And that's what we're about. I mean, another thing I think that's interesting is the entire industry might be moving this way. When we look at the California legislation of last year, are you familiar with this? The new California wildfire legislation? It's very interesting. I'll send it to you. It's very interesting. It dictates that carriers are allowed to impose on their models changes in wildfire risk to their consideration of premiums, and it identifies what characteristics they're allowed to look at. Things like characteristics of the home, if the windows are double glazed, if there's adequate setback from trees and debris, the roof material, distance from water sources, things like that, as well as regional things, where the home is located and if it's at the interface of a fire zone. But not only that, it explains that carriers must use these variables to create a score and share that score with the customer. The customer has the ability to appeal the score, and it's incumbent on the carrier to provide information to the customer as to how they can improve their score. Now, what does that mean? That means that in one state, largest, California, for one type of hazard, wildfire, carriers are being mandated to act as advisors to homeowners. If that's the start of a change in our industry, I think that would be a very welcome thing. I think that there's a lot of cooperation that can happen to avoid a lot of major hazards that we're seeing that are frankly hitting the carrier's bottom lines in ways that should be attenuated.
and we're all suffering from loss ratio problems in this
Yes.
environment. So yeah, no, I agree. It makes a ton of sense. For the listeners, when this goes live, I will tag Dave's LinkedIn. I will tag Alana, and the website is alana.net,
That's right.
ALANA
Yes.
.net. So check it out, because I think any listener will agree that anything we can do proactively to lower our losses and better serve our client is a win-win.
And again, this platform's easy to adopt. We can do things in a very staged way, in a small way, or larger. We would just love to have some conversations with some carriers and solicit their feedback on this.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Tony.